Bolliger & Mabillard, or B&M for short, is one of the leading manufacturers in the amusement industry. This is a Swiss company and is well known for their variety of products, their reliability, and their high-quality rides. It was founded in 1988 by Walter Bolliger and Claude Mabillard. They started off constructing trains for roller coasters, but Six Flags Great America took a chance on them and asked them to construct Iron Wolf, their first ever roller coaster. Now they have 10 different roller coaster types, and in this video I will be discussing where the next coaster of each model will go. Also, in this video I will only be discussing parks in North America, because my knowledge of the European and Asian amusement industries is limited. Lastly, everything I say is pure speculation, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. Or like 4 or 5 grains. I'm going to start with B&M's most popular model, the inverted coaster. There were around 30 of these built, and they were all the rage in the 90s and early 2000s. What makes the inverted coaster model unique is that instead of passengers being seated above the track, they are actually seated below it. Now, this has been done before, like with the Aero suspended coaster. However, B&M's take on it was capable of higher intensity maneuvers, such as loops and steeper drops. If I had to take a guess at where the next B&M ever would go, I have a couple of ideas. I would love to see one at places like Valley Fair, Darien Lake, and more. However, these are unrealistic. Darien Lake is owned by Six Flags, and they haven't worked with B&M in a long time because their rides are kind of expensive. Cedar Fair, the chain that owns Valley Fair, has on the other hand worked with B&M recently. But because Valley Fair is a smaller park, and we all know how Cedar Fair treats them like trash, they probably won't get another good coaster for another decade or so. Realistically, however, I think one at Silver Dollar City would make a great fit. They have nothing like it, and the closest ones are at Worlds of Fun and Six Flags St. Louis, on the other sides of the state. I could also see one at Dollywood or SeaWorld San Diego. My final prediction is that it will go to Silver Dollar City, and for the year, maybe 2025-ish, yeah. Moving on, I'm going to say some models that have a very low chance of coming to North America in the next decade or so. Stand-up coasters are very outdated, and the last one built was Georgia Scorcher in 1999. They are also not very popular with guests because the restraints can be very uncomfortable. The next two models never really took off, and these are the sitting roller coaster and the family roller coaster. Okay, moving on. The next model is the dive coaster. Examples of this are Griffin at Busch Gardens or Valraven at Cedar Point. This has very wide trains and uses a holding brake to hold riders over the first drop for a couple of seconds before they finally fall. I think that one could come to Kings Island and fill Vortex's spot. I would also love to see one at California's Great America or one at one of the Six Flags Texas parks. But again, Six Flags is too cheap for B&M. I think that Cedar Fair may be willing to spend the $15 to $25 million to put a good-sized dive coaster at California's Great America. But this is kind of a stretch because this park is limited on space. However, if they really wanted to make it work, I think it is definitely possible. So for this one, I'm saying Kings Island will get the dive coaster, and for the year, possibly 2024. This is a while just because they received Orion, which was a massive investment. The next one is the Hyper Coaster. The model is characterized by having a height or drop of over 200 feet and usually many large airtime hills and sweeping turns. Now, I think that this is an easy one. Maybe a year or two ago, Dollywood sent out a survey asking guests if they were interested in Dollywood getting either a hypercoaster, a spinning coaster, or an indoor coaster. I'm assuming many people wanted a hypercoaster, and the way that Dollywood has been adding coasters, I think that this could come as early as 2022 or 2023. Next up, wing coaster. On a wing coaster, you sit on the side of the track with nothing above or below you. It may be a long shot, but I would love to see a wing coaster at Islands of Adventure in Florida. I think that Universal could theme it nicely and add some great near-miss elements. I could also see this working at SeaWorld San Antonio because SeaWorld is working with B&M with Emperor, or maybe Hershey Park, because correct me if I'm wrong, but the closest one is all the way at Cedar Point. Any of these could add one, maybe a 2024 opening date. Next, I'm going to talk about the flying coaster. Flying? Yes, that kind of flying. Before you leave the station, the ride cars rotate so that you are parallel to the ground with you just looking down at it. As you move through the course, you get the sensation of flight. I think this could also work in Vortex's old plot of land at Kings Island, or perhaps Busch Gardens Williamsburg, because just anything but a fifth multi-launch. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, please not 5. I could see this anywhere between 2022 and 2024. One of the last couple models that I'll talk about is the Floorless. This is similar to the standard sit-down inverted coaster, but the floors have been taken from the trains. I honestly don't really know if another park in America will install one of these, because the last ground-up one in the US was Hydra the Revenge in 2005. If I had to pick a place, I guess I would say maybe Lagoon, because they could really use some sort of B&M, but so could places like Kentucky Kingdom and Adventureland, but I think that just might be too expensive. There are also floorless conversions in which old stand-up coasters that no one likes anymore get new floorless trains instead of stand-up ones. So I could see Vortex at Carowinds getting this treatment. The last model I'm going to talk about is the Giga Coaster, B&M's crowning jewel. So far, there are 3 of these: Leviathan at Canada's Wonderland, Fury 325 at Carowinds, and most recently, Orion at Kings Island, which just opened up a few days ago. In America, I guess I could maybe see one at Dollywood or one of the Busch Gardens parks, but emphasis on the maybe. I would actually really like one similar to Fury at Busch Gardens Tampa, but I have no idea. Finally, I cannot end this video without talking about the B&M Surf Coaster, which appears to be B&M's take on a launch coaster. This is really good for the company because practically every other manufacturer besides RMC has a launch coaster model, like Intamin, Vekoma, Mack, and S&S. The very first surf coaster looks like it will go to SeaWorld Orlando in 2021. If that's a success, other parks in the SeaWorld, Cedar Fair, Hershend, and maybe other independent things might be interested. And with that, the video is over. Thank you so much for making it to the end. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more weekly content. Follow Amazing Coasters on Instagram, and I'll see you all next time.